Okay, so our first word tonight is backlash. Backlash. And this is kind of a negative reaction to something or someone, usually in a social or political context. So, usually when you see backlash, it's kind of in response to something's popularity. So, like, something or someone is really popular for some time, and then the public kind of turns their opinion on them. They change their opinion, and suddenly they don't like this person or this celebrity or something. And that could be called kind of like backlash. So, a lot of times, maybe a musical group will be very popular and they will win many awards for some time. But then there's kind of like a public backlash. Like the public turns their opinion on them and suddenly they don't like them. And there's a very negative response to this musical act. It's why? I mean, that's just how cultures work, I think. There are these backlashes against certain groups and things. But it could also be in response to just something like the United Airlines incident. United Airlines violently pulled a person off an airplane, and there was a huge media backlash, social media backlash. Everyone was sharing on social media and expressing their outrage about the incident. So backlash can mean just a very negative response to something, and sometimes an opposite negative response after a positive response. Number 2, the fine print. The fine print describes the very small lettering on maybe contracts, leases, insurance policies, any kind of very formal paperwork. When you're buying a car, people will tell you, be sure to read the fine print. Or when you're buying a house, read the fine print. Or making any kind of contract or deal, people warn you, you must read the fine print, because there could be some small detail in the very tiny, so many pages of letters and papers that they could trick you, right? There could be a trick. When I go to the bank, I should read the fine print, but I never do. There's just so many papers. Just sign here, okay, I could be signing all my money away, I don't know. I never read the fine print. But with this whole United Airlines incident, some people were saying if you read the fine print on the ticket, you'd be surprised, because airlines can ask you to do crazy things that you don't know about. Because when we buy plane tickets, we never read the very detailed thing usually at the bottom of the page or the back of the page where no one's going to look. Number 3, bump off. This kind of idiom could just mean to remove someone or something from a list. Bump someone off the list. Usually because of lack of time or space. Sometimes during award ceremonies, there will be many musical performers, but then they run out of time, so someone gets bumped off. They don't have time to schedule their performance. So they're removed from this list. If an airplane overbooks their flight, you could be bumped off the flight, kind of removed from that list of passengers. Number 4, in the spotlight. This means to be in the direct line of attention from the public. So it kind of just describes something that is getting a lot of attention from the media. United Airlines was in the spotlight after this incident. Or, maybe the president could be in the spotlight his first week. Moon Jae-in's first week of being the president, he was in the spotlight. The news was really following him closely. Number 5, repercussion. This is kind of just you could say a result or consequence to something. If United Airlines has this PR disaster where they kick someone off their flight, they have repercussions. People will stop buying their tickets, their stocks go down very far. These are kind of the repercussions of that incident. If you go into the office and yell at your boss and tell him he's being very unfair, there will be big repercussions, right? The next day you come to work, your desk might be empty and you need to find a new job. So repercussions, just the kind of consequences of an action. Number 6, comply just means to agree to act in accordance with some rules or wishes. Hi, you must be Tia? Oh, hi. Welcome. We're just doing the vocabulary. Okay, so comply means to just go along with the rules, follow the rules. When a policeman asks you to do something, you should comply with what they ask you to do. And if you don't comply, there could be serious repercussions or problems. So the man in that video who got removed from the United Airlines flight, he did not comply with what the airline was asking. He did not follow their rules or wishes. Number 7, come into play, just means to become an important factor in something, or to become relevant. So, the example they give here, his criteria will now come into play in choosing which of the two would work best for him. This just kind of means, well, actually, I don't like this example. Let me think of another example for come into play. In the video, they use come into play, talking about the differences. So major airlines are likely to offer a voucher to get you to give up your seat. So they say this voucher, okay, some airlines give you a voucher, some airlines don't give you a voucher. So that's where the differences in airlines come into play. That's where the differences in airlines become important or become relevant to what we're talking about. So that's kind of a difficult one to explain, but come into play just means to become a very important factor in some situation. Come into play. Number 8, entice is just to attract someone to do something. So these vouchers that airlines might give to people can kind of entice them to accepting the airline's offer to get on another flight or maybe stay in a hotel and catch a flight the next day. So these are to entice, kind of attract someone, tempt them kind of with something. Enticement. Okay, so any questions about these 8 words, these 8 vocabulary words?